What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here to take a look at the Lions 2021 NFL schedule. The schedule is here. Yesterday, me and Rad did a little, kind of live reaction to the Detroit Lions schedule reveal. But today, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper look at the Lions schedule. I know it's far out, so we're not going to be doing predictions yet. That comes closer to the season. But I want to take a little bit of a deeper look at the Lions schedule, so let's get it started.
Up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Yeah! He's the GOAT! There's nobody! Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And man, it is that time. It's starting to feel like football's back. It really is. I mean, we had the draft, UDFA. Now here we are with the schedule. But then you look at the calendar and you got like 3 months until the season starts. And it's like, dang. But still, it's sort of close. Kinda. I don't know how many days it is. I don't think we need to start that countdown yet. But it feels like football. And now we have a schedule to look at. We know the dates. We know the times. We already knew the opponents, but we know the dates. We know the times. We know that the Lions are back on prime time. What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it in. That was supposed to be something I talked about later, but we're back on prime time. So I thought we'd take a little bit of a deeper look at the Lions schedule in today's video. Nothing serious, not predictions. It's still too far out, I think, for that. A lot of things can change. Heck, we don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer this year. That's just crazy. But I did want to dive into the schedule a little bit deeper and kind of just some of my takeaways from looking at this schedule and breaking down how golf has done against some of these teams. Just, this, that. So let's take a look at the schedule. Let's throw it up on the screen right now. Here's what we're looking like. All right, let's kind of roll through it. Our first game is at home against San Francisco. Next game is away on the road. We're facing the Green Bay Packers. That is a prime time Monday Night Football. Hey, that's bringing back a little bit of memories, if you know what I'm talking about. Remember last time we were on prime time with the Packers? Yeah, okay. Well, Trey Flowers is still here. So hopefully maybe they get some hands to the face, the whack call. But anyways, let's forget about that. Let's move on. It's prime time. I'm just pumped it's prime time. That's going to be sweet. All right. On the road, Green Bay. Rodgers or not. On the road, Green Bay. Dan Campbell. Ooh, that's going to be hype. Then our third week, we face the Baltimore Ravens at home. The fourth week is back on the road to face the Chicago Bears. We then travel to Minnesota to face the Minnesota Vikings. So 3 of our first 5 games are divisional opponents. Remember last season they did a lot of them early because of COVID. So 3 of our first 5 opponents are divisional opponents, and they're all on the road, okay? Notice that. Our 6th game then is against the Cincinnati Bengals. Our 7th week is then back on the road to take on Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams, and Jared Goff gets to play his former team. That's going to be a big one. We all know it will be. That game will start, I think, at 4:05, somewhere around that. Not the normal 1 p.m. start time. Then we are back at home to face the Philadelphia Eagles before going into a bye. Yes, the bye comes at week number 9. What? Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Coming out of the bye, we're on the road. We face the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're back on the road again to face the Cleveland Browns. Okay, tough AFC North stretch there. However, after that, we come back home. We face the Chicago Bears. All right, back at home. We're feeling good. NFC North opponent. Back-to-back NFC North opponents, I should say. We then face the Minnesota Vikings at home as well. Back on the road then to face the Denver Broncos, which was one of our out-of-conference, not division-related games. Then we face the Arizona Cardinals, which it seems like we face the Cardinals every year. Back at home once again. Go back on the road to face Atlanta on divisional in-conference games. Then back on the road to face the Seattle Seahawks. And we cap it off at home against the Green Bay Packers. We've had that in the past, so we know what that's like. So bam, there's our schedule. It's a 17-game schedule for the first time in NFL history. It's kind of weird to say that. We're part of history. We're making history right now, guys. 17 games on the schedule. It's pretty darn awesome. And this season, of course, because you got 17 games, you can't make it even. So the Lions will have 1 extra away game. I know you're like, dang, the NFL hates us, but we do get an extra home game next season. So that's pretty cool. 9 home games next year. This year we have 9 away games. So, it is something that you got to deal with. Every team's got to go through it. We're just going to go back and forth every year. It kind of stinks, but maybe that means 18 game schedule is on the way soon, and that could mean an extra bye. I don't know. That's way out in the future, but regardless, we have 17 games this season, and it's pretty cool. So let's just dive right into the first thing I want to talk about, and that's the bye week. All right, notice how our bye week comes at week number 9. Now, in a 17-game season, that's about as close to the middle as you can get because there is no middle. Now, that's refreshing for us Lions fans. It should be that we're in the middle of the season with a bye week. Now, yes, Sometimes closer to the end is even better, especially when you're talking about playoff push, things like that. But it is nice to at least have it back in the middle. For example, last season, our bye week came in week number 5. The year before that, 2019, week number 5. The year before that, 2018, week number 6. All right, so we definitely had some early bye weeks. You have to go back to 2017 where we had a week 7 bye week, or I guess you could say even 2016 where we had a week 10 bye week, and that was the last time we made the playoffs. So maybe there's something to that. But regardless, the bye week does feel nice. I mean, it kind of stinks having it early in the season. You really never know how it's going to work out because of injuries. You don't know how injuries are going to work out. But usually, the closer to the middle, the safer the bye week is, because then it's like, okay, you know, we probably had a couple of injuries, probably a couple of dings, got later into the first half of the season. Now we get to look back on the first half, say, here's how, you know, our first, in this situation, our first 8 games went. We get a bye week, and then we can go back at it, and we get to hit the second half of the season where we'll have 9 games. So it's pretty cool that our bye week is in the middle of the season. I think that's really nice for the Detroit Lions this year. I do like that. It's one of my favorite parts of the schedule. Now, the next part of the schedule that I think automatically you have to see is where the divisional games lay out, okay? How are we playing these divisional games? So I think in the past, we always looked at it and said, okay, you know, we got to be, you know, it's nice to have the home games later against some of these colder opponents because the weather's a factor. You know, I mean, we couldn't run the ball in the past, so it was about passing the football. So better weather usually was a better sign for the Detroit Lions when we played on the road because, of course, we're, you know, indoors. We think it would be more of a run-heavy team. However, we've seen a guy in Anthony Lynn adjust to his strength. So we'll just have to see what the strength of the team is. But I think on paper, we believe there would be a much better run team. And defensively, you know, it's all about dominating the trenches, it seems like to us. I mean, that's what we did all offseason is build up the trenches. So you wonder if it's actually, you know, changing a little bit where now you're okay with playing on the road and actually the weather could be slightly an advantage towards you in certain games. I don't know if it will be towards, you know, teams like Chicago because they're always outside. But, I mean, I think certain teams it could be an advantage. However, for this season, at least in years past, I think this lines up how you want it to. The fact that our last 3 divisional games are all at home. All right, so Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay's our last game. All of those 3 home games come after the bye. All those 3 divisional games, they come after the bye week, and they're all at home, okay? So that means, yes, we'll be indoors. And that means that Green Bay, our 2nd week, our 4th week, Chicago, our 5th week, Minnesota, even though only 2 of those 3 teams are outside right now because Minnesota, you know, they kind of have like the cool thing going on there. So it's usually, you know, good weather. But you have Chicago and you have Green Bay early in the season, which means it shouldn't be super cold. I'm no weatherman. Oh, no, we're not throwing it to Bob, are we? Oh, my goodness. Why did I bring this up? Okay, we're throwing it to Bob for real for the weather. What does this have to do with the video? I don't. Okay, just give me the headset. Okay, Bob, for real. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't plan for this. Guys, who keeps employing this guy? All right, we're going to Bob. All right, so let's take a look at the weekly forecast here for your weather. As you guys can see, today is going to be apparently it's going to be very cold today. 10 degrees is the high, for real? Okay. With a low of 4. I'm going to wear a coat or something. Dang, what month is this? Hey, did you guys just hear that? This guy ain't serious, right? He does realize that Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
I think he's joking.
He's joking. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I hope so. Okay. And there's gonna be one big cloud outside, so don't stand under it because you might get rained on. You know what I'm talking about? Like there's one cloud, it just rains. Yo, this guy really just said one big cloud. I don't think he's joking. Who is this guy? Hey, who brought him here? Who is this dude? Now I come to think of it, I've never seen this guy. Hey, buddy. Hey, you realize that's not Fahrenheit, that's Celsius. That's why the numbers are like that. Yeah, we do Celsius here. I'm gonna switch it over to Fahrenheit, okay? Okay, we were just joking. Watch this. Well, as you guys can see, it's actually not gonna be that cold. It's gonna be warmer. So, you know, make sure you pack your swimsuit and stuff. What is he even looking at? He's looking at his green screen. What is he looking at? But it might not be that warm though, because you know it's like a little warm and stuff. Is that good? Oh yeah, man, that's good. Hey, can someone come get him out of here? No, man, this is the business. That's not funny though.
What are you talking about? I'm the weatherman.
This is not funny. This is not cool. Don't let him back in either. Figure out who that is. This is what I'm talking about. This is why we get kicked off of networks and stuff, because it's things like this. All right, man. I'll see you in an hour. Okay. All right. I'll see you there, man. Yo, it's cold. It was not this cold out before. What the? that's kind of cool, you know, that our last 3 divisional games are all at home. I think that's a nice setup, at least based on the Lions' history. It seems like a nice setup there. So that's pretty cool, you know. Then you have to look at the fact that we got a primetime game. I'm sorry, I already spoiled it, but yes, we got a primetime game against a divisional opponent. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's a revenge game. The last time we were on primetime against a divisional opponent, not Thanksgiving, was the Green Bay Packers. It was on the road. It was early in the season. I think it was week number 4. We lost that game 23-22. And man, that game brings up some bad memories, but we played them tough. We played them really well, and of course, that was with Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's just really cool to pop the season off like that. Like week 2, Dan Campbell, you know, new staff, or you know, new look Lions. We're going on the road to face the Packers. Aaron Rodgers or not, it's going to be hype. All right, either way, it should be hype for the Detroit Lions. So I'm super excited for that. I mean, I'm just happy to be back on primetime. I love the primetime games. Kind of stinks that we don't have more, but hey, I'll take one. I'll take 1 over 0. Some teams don't have them. Some teams have multiple. I'll take 1. We were bad last season. So, you know, I'm just happy we got 1 primetime game. I just think that's really cool. And it's early in the season. You know, we're going to see what it's all about early. You know, just a tone setter. That's going to be a really good way to set the tone. Even if you lose week 1, just to like come back and be able to go on the road against Green Bay, that could be a really big opportunity for the Lions and for Dan Campbell to have like a big statement win. I think that'd be really awesome. And then, of course, you have Green Bay at the end of the season. Now, this is something that we've been used to. Hopefully this game matters. I mean, hopefully it does. I mean, most people don't believe it will, but hopefully it matters for the Detroit Lions that our last game is at home against Green Bay. But again, I mean, that's how you want it, right? You want it like that. So I do like the fact that it's at home against Green Bay. It could be one of those control your own destiny type of things. Maybe not. Most people don't believe it will be. But if it was, that's how you want it, right? You want it at home, and you want to play a team like the Packers, who could give you a shot to move up in the divisional standings because you have the opportunity to play them potentially for tiebreaker, you know, reasons. I mean, that's just a really big game for the Detroit Lions. It could be a really big game for the Lions, and it's nice that it's at home. See, just a tough start that they gave the Lions. Now, there's 2 ways you can look at this. Some people will look at this and say, dang, we got a tough start. I mean, this is not how you want to start with a new head coach. That's true, okay? Obviously, you want an easy start, but it's also true that this is, I think, when you want to play the best teams. Is it not? Like when you play the playoff caliber teams, you want to get them early in the season, all right? That's when you want to play teams like this. You want to play teams like Baltimore, teams like San Francisco early in the season, teams that you believe can be playoff teams, because that's when you can catch those teams off guard. It's early in the season. They're still, you know, trying to figure things out. That's when you can pull off upsets, okay? The divisional teams, you know, all on the road, I think that's cool. But then you have Baltimore, San Francisco, week 1 and week 3. That's when you can beat those teams. So a tough start, yes. The Detroit Lions are underdogs by 7.5 points right now to the San Francisco 49ers. A lot can change between now and then. The biggest spread of week 1 as of right now, 7.5 points. It's based on last season. You know what else is based on last season? Strength of schedule. The Detroit Lions currently right now are tied for the 6th hardest strengths of schedule. Now, strengths of schedule, I always kind of go a little bit back and forth. Like, it's cool. It's a nice way to look at it. Sometimes it works out. Other times you look at it and you're like, okay, but yes, it's based on last year. It's not based on projections. It's based on last year's season. And we know a lot of teams can have a lot of turnover in one off season. So strength of schedule is really tough to gauge. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Shouldn't be too worried, I guess I should say, because we do have on paper the easiest strength of schedule in the NFC North, because like I said, it's based on last season. And the reason that we have the easiest schedule in the NFC North is because of those, you know, 2 in-conference games that are not with the divisions that you play. So for example, the Lions will play the NFC North. They're going to play the NFC North. Of course, you always play the NFC North. You play those 2 teams. You play those teams twice. They're also going to face the NFC West, the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Arizona Cardinals. So you have that division. Everybody else in the division will play that division as well. And we also are all going to be playing the AFC North. The Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers, the Bengals. And on paper, you know, both those divisions are really tough. So that's why our strength of schedule is so tough. And last season, both those divisions were really tough. And I think this year, the NFC West could be even better. I mean, I think on paper, if I had to predict, the NFC West looks like the best division, hands down to me. And the AFC North is not going to be a cakewalk because you have one of the most complete teams in the Browns. And you have, obviously, another playoff contender in the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. The Steelers were fantastic last year. I think they take a step back, but still, in the Bengals, they could take a step up with Joe Burrow in year number 2 coming back healthy. So 2 tough divisions, but like I said, on paper, based on last year's standings, the difference is it's our 2 in-conference games and our 1 out-of-conference games, not within those divisions, are the Philadelphia Eagles, the Denver Broncos, and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, that's based on where they were in their standings. Since we were last in the NFC North last season, we are going to face the teams that were also in last of their standings. So, for example, the Packers will face the best of best. So, while we are out there, we're facing the NFC South. Our in-conference game is the NFC South. We got the Atlanta Falcons. Packers will face a team like the Saints because they had the best record, even though they're not probably going to be the best team. So, sometimes it works out. But occasions like that, yes, the Saints were the best in the NFC South last year in terms of record, but I think most of us believe, that the best team in the NFC South next season is going to be a team like the Buccaneers. The thing of that is that we should have the easiest, of those three opponents. However, if you go by Vegas's projected win totals for 2021 and they were 100% accurate, we then have the toughest strength of schedule in the NFC North. So isn't that just unfortunate? I mean, there's nothing you could do about it. That's how it's set up. But yeah, that stinks. So for the Detroit Lions, when you look at those three games, you see, let's start off with a team like Philly, because Philly's the first team that we play in that, in that situation. Look at the rest of the NFC East. Would you rather play any of those other teams aside from Philly? Now, Philly was last year, but Philly does have a history of when they finish last, they bounce back and they're a playoff team. I mean, it's just seemingly what they do. When they finish last, they bounce back and they make the playoffs. That's kind of their history. However, when you look at the rest of the NFC East, I'd take Philadelphia over, I'd rather play Philly over the Cowboys and the Washington football team. That's just my opinion. But the Giants are an interesting one. I could see where you'd want the Giants, but we know they have a lot of weapons. Of course, they have Kenny Galladay now. So it's kind of, a toss-up between those two. So I'm fine with playing Philly. I think we were good there. It worked out pretty well for us. Denver Broncos on the road. Of course, you don't want to face the Chiefs. So, definitely worked out for us there. But then it's the Raiders, the Chargers. I could see where you'd want to play the Chargers. Anthony Lynn coming from the Chargers. Maybe you have a little bit leg up, year two for Justin Herbert. That I could see how you could want to face a team like Chargers or maybe even the Raiders. But I don't think it's bad that we're facing Denver. I know they had a couple hype a little while ago, but it just didn't work out for them. So I'm fine with that as well. One wild thing with the Broncos is that the Broncos are one of those potential landing targets for Rodgers, people think. So if the Broncos traded for Rodgers, we could be saying, okay, no more Aaron Rodgers, we got to play for Green Bay. But then we still play Denver this season. No one else in the North has to, but we do. We have to play Denver, and Aaron Rodgers is there, so we still face Rodgers. Atlanta. See, this is the interesting one because Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn's former team, they no longer have Drew Brees. Even though they were first in division, there's a chance that they could fall down. I could see that argument because Atlanta, maybe they get a little bit better. They didn't go rebuild mode. They still have Matt Ryan. They added Kyle Pitts as another weapon with Julio Jones, with Calvin Ridley. So they have weapons. I think I would prefer playing Carolina over New Orleans just because I think they have good coaching staff and, they could be tough with Alvin Kamara still. So I personally think that I'd prefer Carolina, but even Carolina, I mean, they lost a lot of close games last season, and, McCaffrey's back. Not too worried about, a guy like Sam Darnold. So I could see Carolina being the team that you wanted the most, but Atlanta, they're necessarily to say that they'll be great or making a Super Bowl push, but they didn't rebuild. Not to say they're a great team. We beat them last season, but they definitely have some firepower over there. But it is a tough stretch, and it could lead to the Detroit Lions, going out there and struggling early. The fact is the Detroit Lions are probably going to be underdogs in most games, if not all games, before the season starts, unless they prove otherwise during the season, things change. But heading into the year, we're going to be underdogs in most of the games that we face, like the first game that we have the biggest spread, and we're the biggest underdogs as of right now.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I got to tell you, it feels phenomenal.
I think in the words of Vince Vaughn there, I think some people might have the same idea, for the Detroit Lions. Like, we don't really have a goal because we don't have very high expectations. So, any win or anything like that, it's going to feel good. You're not going to really get down. Now, I personally not like looking at it like that. I don't expect the Lions to win any game, so it's whatever they do, I'm going to be happy with it. Like, I do have some expectations for this team. I don't think, I'm coming into a year, expecting them to be a playoff team or anything crazy like that, but that, your job is to win. And I know it's a tough situation, but, you do have some expectations. Nothing crazy, but you do have some expectations. I'm not going to be okay if they go out there and lose every game. Like, that's not cool. You got a guy in Jared Goff who's getting paid like, a franchise quarterback. And I know there is the out and everything, but like, there's enough pieces here where, we need to see something. We need to see a little bit of something. We're going to have to face these teams sooner or later. The schedule is going to be difficult no matter really how you line it up because they're facing the NFC West and the AFC North. I want to give you guys some statistics here. How Jared Goff is faring against teams. I know it's different. I know like he was with the Rams, but I do have some statistics. Against our opponents this season, he is 21-12 in the regular season. That's not including playoffs. He's 21-12 against the teams that we're facing. In the NFC North, he is 4-2 in the regular season. Now, he did lose last year in the playoffs to the Packers, so you could say 4-3, but in the regular season, it's 4-2. And if you look at his last matchups against these teams, for example, Minnesota was back in 2018, where he was historically great. 5 touchdown passes, 465 yards on only 7 incompletions, okay? He had a perfect pass rating in that game. Yes, back in 2018, but Minnesota may have had a better defense than they did last year, but I think Minnesota defense may bounce back a little bit. You look at a team like Chicago. The last time he faced Chicago, he's won the last 2 matchups against Chicago. He's 2-1 all time against Chicago, and he was 23 for 33 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, no interceptions with a 108 passer rating. Yes, better circumstances with the Rams, no question. They're a better team than we were in the last few years, but I'm just saying, okay, he's had some success against some of these NFC North teams lately, but like I said, against the Packers, he did lose in the playoffs. He was 21 of 27 for 174 yards, touchdown, no picks. But, 174 yards is pretty low considering 21 completions. However, he is 1-0 against the Packers in the regular season. So, he's had some success recently against some of these NFC North teams. He is 4-2 all-time against the NFC North and is 21-12 against our opponents. So, yes, way better team, no question about it. Not saying that, that's easily going to translate, but I am saying he has had some success against our opponents. Look at a team like San Francisco, even though he's 3-5 all-time, against San Francisco, he has lost his last 4 matchups. So, yeah, San Francisco is not looking great, and that's probably another reason why the spread is not looking great for us right now. But San Francisco wasn't that great last season. However, he did face them last season, and he struggled. So, yeah, anyways, throw some, stats at you that, as a Lions fan, we need some of this optimism. We got 17 games this season. You're going to be in the playoff hunt longer. Since 1990, there has been at least 4 teams that have went from no playoffs to playoffs. Since 1990, at least 4 teams. Last season, there were 7 teams that did that. 7 teams went from no playoffs to playoffs last season. And a lot of that had to do with an extra playoff spot being open. So you're getting almost half the teams in from each conference now with 7 playoff teams. Plus, you have an extra week, so you're going to be in the hunt a little bit longer. So, yeah, it's going to make for some excitement for the Detroit Lions. Think about it. We beat Washington. We were 4-5, and we were still legitimately in that race. The last 17 of 18 years, there's been at least 2 teams that went from non-playoffs to winning their division. In the last 17 of 18 years, last year, there were 2 teams that did that. So we've seen a lot of worst to first. We've seen it many years. There's a team that goes from worst to first. And I just want to throw some optimistic stats at you. Things change quickly in the NFL is basically my point. That's not to say the Lions will be a playoff team. Most people believe the Lions won't be, but believe the Lions will be the worst team in the NFL next season. Most people actually do. However, I did want to throw some statistics that things do change quickly in the NFL. And the Lions, their plan is not to tank. We understand where we're at, but the plan is not to tank. Okay, you don't come into the season with a plan to tank because while things do change quickly in the NFL, if the Lions go out there and they lose every game, as much as this may be building for the future, your job ain't safe. And I'm not just talking about Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. I'm talking about the players, okay? Players aren't going to go out there and try to lose, okay? These guys, this is their job. This is their income. They got to go out there and play. Even if that's for the next team or for whoever it may be, they got to play and they got to put some good film on tape because you can get out of a job quick. Specifically, Jared Goff, he's getting paid with that out clearly on his contract. I know, they gave him some insurance. They didn't draft a quarterback. They, restructured his contract a little bit. They're still clear out. He's trying to win a starting job because if he doesn't win it here and Brad Holmes really liked him, who knows about his future? So it's not even about the coaches and GM. I don't know what they talk about with the owner, but these players, they're going to go out there and try to play and try to win. Look at all the 1-year deals we signed this offseason. You can't tell me them 1-year deals will be like, we cool. We ain't really trying. No, these guys, this is their last chance. This is last chance you build a culture. You don't build a culture through losing because a lot of draft picks, high draft picks for bad coaching staff, what does it equal? Wasted draft picks. Even we've seen it with the Lions. Look at it, right? We brought in this new head coach, Matt Patricia. We were 9-7. We're like, okay, we got to get even better. We go 6-10. Look at the last time, we were 7-9 with Jim Schwartz. We bring in Caldwell, we go 11-5. Not as extreme, but we have things change quickly. The biggest thing is that we lost our quarterback. We didn't win a game without our quarterback, and we had a historically bad defense. That's tough. That's tough. That is tough to bounce back from. But we've seen crazier things happen. So we'll see what happens. I do want to throw you guys some optimism before we get out of here. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. How do you feel about the schedule? It's tough. There's no question. It's going to be tough. But it's going to be fun. And it means football is getting close. And I'm excited. So we got a primetime game. That's all I care about. Let me know your thoughts, guys, below. Thank you for watching. And I'm out.